right, y'all. So today I want to go over this article that I read. And honestly, it just really broke my heart to see that people are hurting this way. And so I just want to shed some light on this, not just being, a company that's going bankrupt, but it's actually affecting people in a tremendous way, right? What really angers me is that I've seen people out there that are like, this is what you get, and they're kind of poking fun at the situation. I just don't think that's okay. Many of us didn't know what was going to happen. People very close to me that were affected quite a bit. And so this has been, it's been tough to watch. It's been very, very tough to watch. But anyways, I am going to link the article down below. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, go ahead and check it out. It's a really good article, and you can always donate to the author there, Laura Shin, who made this really good article. I'm going to go ahead and skip all this here because she's just kind of going over some of the things that we already know, kind of why Voyager is in the situation that they are. But where we really get to the story is when we read about this person here, right? So this is Jess Archer. She's 45 years old, and she's from Olympia, Washington, who works in environmental science, and she had more than $70,000 locked up on Voyager. So this is sad. This is sad to see what's going on. So Jess here, she said that she discovered Voyager a couple years ago. She was on Coinbase and stuff like that, but I liked the Voyager platform as they heavily advertised 9% interest on USDC. That was enticing because you can't get 9% interest elsewhere. I did a lot of research and seeing that USDC is 100% backed versus UST. So that's one of the things that also I really liked, was that this was USDC, and USDC is probably one of the safest, if not the safest, stable coin out there. And in terms of what I know, I think I really trust USDC. And so when people were coming on my channel, when the whole fiasco with UST was going on, they're like, hey, is USDC gonna fall? I reassured people that was not gonna happen, and well, we see that didn't happen. I really do trust USDC. So USDC is a total different beast from Voyager though, right? What Voyager did with that USDC was what caused this situation. USDC had nothing to do with this, right? It's like gambling, right? If I give you $100, those $100 are safe. Whatever you do with those $100 though can be unsafe. If you go and buy a bunch of scratchers with those $100, then that's gambling, right? Same thing here. USDC is safe, but what Voyager did with that money was the unsafe thing. Yeah, it's a stable coin, 100% backed. That seemed like a wiser choice and something that fluctuates if you're not in it for the long term, but you're in it for the short term. And that's really what I preached in my channel, that USDC was a safer choice. And what we saw with my account, if you guys followed my channel, was that it was working. It really was. My portfolio was beating the crypto markets. And even when Bitcoin was going up, I always preached buy USDC, get that 9%, and make sure that you have that safety net. But again, I never thought that something like this would happen. I finally finished that and was able to sell the house for half the equity. And the plan was that with this $70,000, I'd buy a house for myself and my kids. And in the meantime, since in the housing market, yeah, I understand the housing market is crazy. There's not a lot of supply right now. I was trying to make some interest on it rather than just having sitting in savings. So 2 months ago, I put it into Voyager. The plan was to have it there for a few months and then buy a house. Wow. So this person put $70,000 in there. They only received interest for what, maybe a month or two, and they couldn't even use it. Ah, man, this is tough to read, If you read this all here, they sold their home, put that there in the meantime while they were looking for another home. This is tough to read, guys. This is tough to read. So I really do feel for this person. Laura then goes ahead and asks, how much did you earn? $245. And then they tear up because it's like, wow, I would pay that 10 times over to get it back. I completely understand. You'd pay so much for just having access to those funds again. And then they ask, well, why did they pick Voyager? What was another reason? Well, everything they marketed, this is yours to own. a lot of reassurance about the way they do business, yes, about how they were well capitalized. It never in a million years occurred to me. I've been living crypto Twitter in the last few days and learning things I wish I had known. We were undercompensated for the risk we were taking. Definitely, it was a really high risk, and 9% was definitely not worth that risk. The people that Voyager is marketing to are not operating at that level. Definitely not. We're just everyday people that are just trying to make it. You shouldn't have to be a financial expert or tech expert to use those platforms, and they're certainly not marketed that way. What do you think Voyager was doing with your money? They ask her. I thought Voyager was making investments to get the interest, but I didn't realize that they were loaning it out to these high risk partners. I think no one expected them to be loaning it out to people who were gambling with our money. And to not to defend Voyager or anything like that, but Voyager wasn't the only one. There were many other companies that were also lending to Three Arrows Capital, and it just has caused a tremendous amount of damage in the crypto world. But now we know. Hopefully now crypto world has realized why collateral is so important. If you had some sort of collateral here, you could have gone towards that collateral and there would have been no issue. But now we see that there's no collateral, and that's where the issues start. Just as one example, on January 20th, they reached out to a bunch of partners and they entered into these non-disclosure agreements to try and bail them out. And 6 days after that, they sent and 6 days before that, they sent an email out to us reassuring us that they did not have any exposure to Celsius. I remember this email. They never engaged in DeFi lending. They said, on our balance sheet, Voyager is well capitalized and positioned to weather the bear market. I have a really hard time believing that they were writing that, and then 6 days later, to be sending an NDA out to 60 partners to bail them out. That doesn't seem logical or believable. I think they knew when they wrote that email that it was manipulative. This is when they sent out this email, this is when I really started to get a little weary about what's going on. And this is when I decided that it was time for me to take out my money from Voyager. Around this time is when I just said I'm taking my money out from Voyager, because a company that is okay is not going to go out of their way to say we're okay. If you're okay, there's no reason to go out and say it, right? This was for me when they sent out this email. You can go ahead and read it, but when they sent out this email, this was kind of like a cry from Voyager for people to leave their assets on there, and they were like, "Please leave your assets on here. We're like, we promise you that everything is fine." And I did not like that one bit. That's when I said, you know what, it's time. It's time for me to take out my assets. And around this time is when I decided to also tell family members and all that, and also make a video on it for you guys, letting you guys know that I had taken out my USDC. So this email here really gave me very bad vibes. And yeah, I mean, something in my stomach just kind of told me it's time to take my money out. This is sad here. They said that their last deposit was about $10,000, and this was literally on the day that Voyager said that we cannot withdraw anything, trade anything, or anything like that. It says that they still took the $10,000. This is very interesting here. It says Matt Levine estimates a 72 cents on the dollar equity VGX stock and shares in the claims against Three Arrows. So I'm not sure where Matt Levine got these 72 cents from. If we get to 72 cents for every dollar, I'd be more than happy with that. And hopefully we get 72 cents, but I'm more in the camp, about 60 cents per each dollar. Just looking at what they have, the assets that they hold, and how much money they have, and how much money people hold on there, I'm more in the camp of about 60%. And also to realize that they do have to pay lawyers, and they still have to pay employees and all that going on. And where's that money coming from? You can go ahead and make your assumptions, but yeah, that money's coming from our money, right? Since they're not making they're not generating any cash flow or anything like that right now, since there's no trading or anything going on the platform. This is the saddest part here, and this is where I'm going to end the article. But it says, when you were saying earlier that this was a short-term investment for you, when were you going to use the money? Well, she said that once she found a house, they've been house hunting. The thought was that I'd start to process pulling out the money when the time was close. Last night I stayed up figuring out plan B. My kids, who are 10 and 13, would be crushed if they knew what was happening. Tears up, starts crying. I think my short-term plan is I'll pull money from my kids' college savings for the down payment, and hopefully if I get something back here, I can refund their college savings. It's not a great plan. I'll pay 10% on this. There are millions of people like this. Some people are using Voyager as a bank that won't be able to pay their rent this month or buy food. This is truly sad, and there's thousands and thousands of stories like this. People who were deeply affected by this. Someone close to me, my brother-in-law, and it hurts so much talking to him. It's tough because I know that he has $30,000 in there, and those $30,000 were going to be used for their first home, for my sister and for him for their first home. So it really does hurt, and it's been tough these past few days to realize what they're going through. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I've just been having a tough time. I've had a few sleepless nights, but I hope that you guys are all doing good out there. And if you ever need anything, you could find me on Twitter, send me a DM out there. Not much that I can do, but I can always, be a person to talk to or anything like that. All right, guys. Hope that you guys have a good one. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, guys, help me out and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't done so already, guys, smash that like button down below. Like always, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.